Tonight's the night. Okay, so tonight's the night. I just filled up with gas and the car's all packed and I'm ready to go. It's just about sunset here. I guess maybe it is sunset. So it's gonna be dark. It's gonna be a little over a 2-hour drive. So I'm gonna get there. It's gonna be like 10 o'clock. I wanna get unpacked. Depending on how I'm feeling and how my back's doing, I might try and get everything set up so in the morning I can just go. But otherwise, part of my morning will be getting set up. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm really nervous because I don't think I've ever gone on a trip like this by myself before, and I'm gonna kind of be in the middle of nowhere. So that's gonna be a little weird, but I'm still really excited. I hope it's really great, and I don't know, I'm excited. If you didn't see my planning video for this, I'll link it somewhere, but let's get driving. I think I'm all set up and ready to go for tomorrow. The desk set up, all of my things moved into this cart here. Camera is ready for a little bit of vlogging, and now I just need to relax and, you know, go to bed. So I'll probably see you in the morning. Good morning. I got to sleep in compared to normal, but feels good. I got woken up at 6 from all the birds, but then I went back to sleep, but it was still really nice. It is 10:35. I just finished my first, 2-hour block, which is, 4 of my normal task blocks. So that was pretty good. I got through, 2.5 chapters of revisions, although I've been diving into this last chapter a little bit more, just kind of doing a bit more extensive line edits because it's the climax of one of the characters' scenes. So I think this little batch will go maybe a little bit slower, but I'm pretty happy with that. So I checked off my first 4 revision blocks, and it's time for me to maybe go for a little walk, take a break, and then I'll sit down for another batch of revisions. Probably gonna grab something to eat too, because I didn't eat much for breakfast this morning. I didn't feel like it, so I'll have a little snack now too. I only finished about a little over 1 sprint. Still working on the same chapter. I'm having fun making it, really line editing it. I've been kind of switching back and forth between deep line edits and just kind of getting the big kind of level stuff done. But I got a call from the neighbors. I'm gonna go head over there, and I might get to hang out on her porch a little bit in her studio and do some writing there, which I'm really excited about. It's the most amazing space. So that will give me another place to sort of switch things up. So I'm gonna run over there, get some keys, and yeah, then I'll probably be back and do more writing, but yes. That was nice. I have the keys. I'll probably go over there. Probably sometime tomorrow, check on their kitties, hang out. She's actually a poet, a really good poet. So she has a lot of really nice little writing spaces tucked around their house just for, you know, looking at the mountains and the gardens and the birds and just hanging out. So she's like, oh, you know, go ahead and hang out, do some writing. So that'll be really nice. But I need to head back. I need to get, you know, a few more sprints in. And then I might take some time. And then I might go write at the winery this afternoon. We'll see. All right, I have maybe 45 more minutes before I was planning to stop. I'll probably finish my current writing sprint, which I think I have like 23 minutes left on, and then do another one, which means I will have lost like one planned block, but like whatever. I'm excited. I'm just having a really good time. When you're writing and working on creative things under like time constrictions where you're like, I have an hour to do this, I have 30 minutes. There's so much pressure in that I don't think you really, at least I don't really recognize until I'm in a situation where I just have endless time, like just time to breathe and think and take it slow. And there's something just really nice about it and graceful and just, you know, it's just really nice. So I'm enjoying this. Okay, so I've gone through and I reread all of my outline, kind of just skimming it up until the point where I stopped on my Magic Forge project, because that's what I'm going to pick up on next. And so I'm kind of refreshed. I really looked over the next few scenes so that I know what I'm starting with. I've started to get like, you know, the thoughts going on the scene and the story and everything. And yes, I think I'm ready to dive back into that. And I think I could keep going with revisions on my blood magic project, but I think it really is a good time to kind of switch focus to keep the inspiration going. But I'm definitely feeling myself drawn a little bit towards like refilling myself a bit. So we'll see how this goes, and then hopefully, you know, I'll get back from a writing session at a winery, and then I'll have some time to kind of do some more refilling so that I can keep going. Yeah. Was really nice. I only stayed about an hour and a half because I think they had like a bridal party or like a bachelorette party or engagement. I don't know. They had a big party come in, so it got really crowded and noisy and I couldn't focus. So I'm gonna head back, but I did grab a cupcake, so that'll be nice. It's getting late. It's 9:20 at this point. I spent most of the evening watching a documentary on the Ottoman Empire and working on my query list, which was my activity for this evening. So I was mostly just doing research in Query Tracker and adding labels on different agents based off whether or not like I think they'd be a good fit, a bad fit, an okay fit, adding all the ones to my list that were options for querying blood magic too, and then the ones that like if they had sold books in the last couple of years to like a big 5 or one of the bigger fantasy publishers or like a smaller publisher or like some ones I've never heard of. So I kind of have those all started, figured out my process, and you know, it'll take some time to just keep going through the list, but you know, made some progress there. So I'm going to continue watching the Netflix show I've been watching, which is Rise of the Phoenixes, which has been fun because it's only subtitled, so I can't do other things while I watch it because I have to read the subtitles. So it helps me actually not multitask and sort of relax, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm gonna watch that, relax a little bit more, maybe take a shower, and then I'm excited for tomorrow. I've been taking it pretty easy today, but I'm excited to get a lot done tomorrow. So yes, I will see you in the morning.
I don't want to get up. I'm very comfortable right now. But I think this morning I'm gonna go right at the cafe, so I need to get up and get dressed and get my stuff together and head over there for breakfast and hopefully some really fun, yummy coffee. So, let's get going.
Okay, so I only stayed for about an hour. I was getting a little bit uncomfortable, but I got a decent bit of words in. I think I'm finally breaking into that. I don't know, I feel like picking back up a project, there's always that, like, what do you call it, that, like, hurdle you have to get over. So I think I'm starting to get over that, so, you know, that's good. Yes, I walked around a little bit. I stopped at the country store, got some snacks and some preserves because I kind of want toast at some point, maybe in the morning. And then we're gonna head back. Okay, it's 11 o'clock now. I'm gonna get back into some more drafting. Yeah. Okay, I just did 3 more task blocks and I'm still really feeling invested in this scene. Okay, so I had stopped drafting right before the midpoint because I thought that was sort of a good place to be able to pick back up because it's sort of this big moment, right, that kind of starts the momentum of the second half. So the scene I had outlined, I think is actually, now that I've studied more on scenes, I think I posted a video on that recently on like scene breakdowns. I've been learning a lot more and understanding it a lot more since I outlined this. And this is technically, I think, like 4 scenes. A little transition scene at the beginning, and then 2 bigger scenes, and then 1 smaller one. But it's all sort of the same sequence, I guess. So I'm through the first transition, and I'm finishing up that big scene, the first big scene, which is like this big emotional moment for the main character, like where she is finally being forced to sort of face her misbelief and own up to it. Now, she doesn't realize that it's like not true yet, but she's at least realizing that that's what it is, and realizing like how much pain she's actually in. And you know, it's a very emotional scene and very intense. So I'm almost finished it. And then I need to write the second scene, the second big one, which is going to be like sort of the culmination of the hook, the promise of the premise, right? Is it's called Magic Forged. That's what I'm calling this project right now. That's like a working title, or not even a working title. It's just like a name, but the second big scene is going to be where she actually forges. So it's going to be like really cool, and I think because this is sort of this culmination and this promise of the premise, like I need to really take my time and not rush through it in terms of pacing. So I'm letting myself do, whatever I need to do word count wise, but I'm getting really into it. I'm getting a little stiff though, so I'm going to do a little bit of stretching or yoga or whatever, fill up my water bottle, and then I might go sit on the porch or sit somewhere slightly different, but I'm going to keep working a little bit longer before I break and have lunch. So that's Okay, so I realized it's actually like 1 o'clock, so I'm trying to decide if I want to do a little bit more right now, or if I want to just stop now to have lunch and then go over to the neighbor's house to feed her cats and do some writing there. But I'm in the flow for drafting, and I feel like revisions isn't super tricky right now. Like I've sort of figured out like a quick flow for doing it, so like I feel like I can get back into that anytime, and it's a little harder to get in the flow with a first draft, I think. So I might just keep drafting for a little bit, and then if I get stuck, like switch over. It's 1. I am starting to get hungry. I don't really feel like making anything because I'm lazy, so my husband normally feeds me. That's normally his job. He does all the cooking and the procurement of food implements, and I do like laundry and stuff like that. So yeah. Okay, I've decided I'm gonna go over there now. I'm gonna do the dishes real quick and grab a snack, and then I'm just gonna head over and get ready for another nice long session. I think this will do just nicely. It is 6 o'clock. I ended up writing way longer than I thought I would. I was starting to feel a bit stiff in my back, but I did some more stretches and switched laying on this little like outdoor couch thing, and it's 6 o'clock now. So I think I came over here, I think I started heading over a little after 1. So I think I was probably writing by 1:30, 2 o'clock, which means I probably got 4.5 hours of writing in, which is pretty exciting. This scene has still been really slow because I'm just kind of finalizing and figuring out all the mechanics of how the forging works. So it's a little bit slow, and this chapter, which I think is now like 5 scenes total, or 1 scene turned into 5 scenes. I'm not sure, but I think it's like 5,000 or 6,000 words now, so I'm pretty happy with that progress, but I'm excited to go back, take a little break, figure something out for dinner. Yeah, then think about what I'm gonna do this evening. We are looking pretty good so far for the weekend. I wasn't planning on doing the rest of these blocks until tomorrow. I was planning on doing revisions this afternoon. So I still have some more blocks that I was expecting to get done for revisions, but I'm basically done all the drafting ones. I've done more than enough querying. And then I haven't decided if I'm gonna work on my new project tonight or if I'm gonna do revisions instead. I'm not sure. I'm also not entirely sure if I'm gonna go out and get dinner and bring it back or just like eat toast. I don't know. I'm gonna think about it. Okay, it's like, what, 12:30? It's 12:30 now. I spent a few hours doing a little bit of like brainstorming and research and thinking for my next project, so that's good. And I started watching my show again, and I got to a really good part, but I need to make myself go to bed now, so yeah, it's kind of sad that there's only 1 more morning left. But I've gotten so much done the last few days, like, I'm very impressed with myself. Okay, good night. It is Sunday, so it is the last day of my retreat. I ended up sleeping in a bit this morning. I had kind of thought I'd get started at 8, but I actually slept in until 9 because I stayed up so late last night, which is fine. But I've kind of cleaned up a little bit. It's 9:30? Yeah, it's just about 9:30 now. So I want to get in a little bit of revisions. I'm on chapter 49 now. So I only have 6 more chapters to go, but I do want to do a little bit of a rewrite of one of the climaxes, which is not this scene, but part of the 2 after that. So that'll take a little bit more time. But I don't know. I mean, I'm just about done with this pass, and then I want to kind of go through and do, I guess, a bit of a line edit pass, proofread pass, sort of, to really just read through it, look for any last mistakes. I might, like, send it through pro writing or something, the grammatical side, just because I'm really bad with grammar. With a manuscript this big, I don't know how other people use things like pro writing, but it's way too much effort for me to use like any of the other reports there. I just mostly use it for the top level report that's like the grammar. So, I don't know, I might go through and do that, and then that'll be done, which is crazy. And I actually got a decent bit done last night on my 3rd project, the sort of initial brainstorming phase. I started working on, I think I want to do like a mini conlang, like more of a naming language for each of the 3 areas. I normally pick a place on Earth, and I do naming generators for names from that place. So like my Magic Forge project, I used a base of names from Croatia. And because it had the right feel of what I was looking for. And so I would just generate names and pick the ones that I thought fit. And I just made like a big list of names that I could pull from. And I changed the spelling of some of them to make them a little bit more, I think, directly pronounced by like an English speaker. And obviously picked and chose the ones that I thought would look the most familiar, even if slightly different. But since I'm conlanging a spell language for that book, I thought it could be fun to do a few naming languages as well, which means I need 4 relatively distinct sounding languages, 3 of which will only be for like names. But the question I keep running into is, I like to imagine that in fantasy worlds, what you're reading, right, that root language wasn't actually in English, right? So, you know, whatever language my people are speaking and living in is in English, but it's obviously translated in English. So, you know, the people that are mostly reading it are English speakers, and I don't want to do things that wouldn't be pronounceable by English speakers, or wouldn't be like if they look at a name and they're like, whoa, like that's gonna like throw them out of it and make it more difficult for them. So I try to avoid that. So I kind of struggle with whether or not, like, how far I would go with it. Because if the main area that everyone's in has, like, a naming language, but I use that for all the places, or, because, like, a lot of place names use a lot of common names, like something hill, something street, something a mountain, they use a lot of adjectives. And so if it was translated into English, would they be translating those words, or would they keep all the names the same? Which I'm not sure about, but it might sound weird to just have a bunch of completely random names versus having like English words that mean something, like Gold Street or Potter Street, or like, I don't know, City of the Morning Mists or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like knowing what those like root geographic words are and what the adjectives are tell you more about the place. So by completely using like a naming language, you would lose some of that. So I don't know. I'm thinking about it. I don't exactly know what I want to do yet. I might just use it for the other names that don't have that sort of stuff in them. Like keep the normal adjectives, keep the normal like mountains, whatever, hill, that sort of a thing, and translate the rest. And then have the actual people's names be in the naming language. I don't know. I'm thinking about it, but yes, that is what I'm doing. So
So let me get some revisions done this morning, and again, it's already 9:30. I only planned to go until 11, so yeah. Okay, so I think that this went really, really well. So you can sort of see here what my schedule was. And I think for the most part, I followed this pretty directly. I did draft a little bit longer this day and then did revisions this morning, but other than that, you can see that I basically hit all the blocks that I sort of thought I would. So I think scheduling this out like this and switching between projects worked very, very well for me. So I'm excited about that. And I did sort of keep a log of everything I did just so that I could remember it for last time in terms of like making a slightly more correct schedule. And then I wrote out what I did like final. So I did 10 half-hour blocks of revisions, which is 5 hours. I did 18 blocks of Magic Forge drafting, which was 9 hours, which is crazy. And then for query prep, 5 blocks, 2.5 hours. World building, 6 blocks, 3 hours. So I actually want to look real quick. I think I already started to close this, but I'm curious how many words I actually wrote when I was drafting. I know the first morning when I went to the cafe for I think 2 hours. Is that how long I was there? No, I was there for an hour. I only did like 200 words. Like it took me a really long time to kind of get into it, but I feel like that's sort of expected when you're dropping into something, and I don't want to be like, oh yeah, in 9 hours I wrote 1 chapter. Because that's not quite accurate, but let's see. Okay, I did 6,335 words. I sort of expected this to be slow, which is why I'm really glad I did it in a setting like this where I could literally spend 9 hours in a weekend, because otherwise doing 9 hours, like I can only do about 2 hours a night. So you're talking like probably 5 evenings, and if you were splitting it up and weren't like in a flow, because you know, the first few hours it was hard for me to get going, but then I was like really inspired. So it probably would have taken me weeks to kind of get back into that. So I think that's definitely a good reason to try and, like, when getting or starting a project, find a big batch of time where you can sort of get into it. Because I think that now I can sort of just go, right? I can do little bits at a time and it'll be fine. But that's sort of where I am now. I think this weekend was amazing. Like, it was a little weird that first night being here by myself, but then it's just been like so great just having endless open free time, being able to run around and do whatever I wanted at any, like, I suppose this is sort of what writing is like for people who don't have kids. Because that's basically all I did this weekend was work on my projects, hop around a little bit. And I suppose if you don't have kids, you could probably do that on a weekend if you wanted to. But I have kids, which I am very excited to go back to them. I miss them so much. They're so sweet and cuddly, and I want to hug them. And I miss my husband, so this was the best Mother's Day present ever. So I'm really happy. Yeah. So catch me in the next vlog.